First, this theme was created to work with the TCP FX list turned on. Of course, you can disable it, but you'll not get all the experience that the creator wants to give. So in FM4 adjuster, you can set the minimum FX slot height. Use this parameter depending on how much plugins you want to see simultaneously. Given that we also can use embedded UIs of plugins, there are a couple of modes about how FX List interacts with embedded UIs. In the first mode, you can see embedded UIs right next to FX Lists. It's useful if you need to operate with plugins using tiny heights of TCP, but you need to increase the width to use it properly. The second mode is my favorite in this mode. Embedded UI replaces FX List, but the FX List will not disappear. It will be moved to the third column, and you can see it under the pan knobs. The second important thing is fixed lanes. Once you click this button, fixed lanes for the track will be enabled. Note that you also can select several tracks to enable fixed lanes on all of them. When fixed lanes are enabled, you'll see additional controls. Hide lane buttons. Use it if you want to save some space. Move all items up to reduce lane usage. Show and play only selected lane, or the first one. Use it to focus on a single lane. Play all lanes. If the previous parameter is disabled, but only the lane is selected, you can quickly enable all lanes. Layouts. There are several layouts for TCP and MCP. TCP long name layout. Unlike the default, long name looks more like folder. It allows you to use long track names. TCP meter bridge layout is the same to meter bridge meter position, but with layout, you can use it for individual tracks. Color faders. You can choose different fader colors for TCP and MCP. MCP layouts. The default layout has some specifics. It can change its width according to the number of channels in embedded UI. If the number of channels is more than 4 or embedded UIs are enabled, the width will be increased. Meter bridge layout. This layout minimizes track parameters to the most important ones. The layout is pretty tiny, and the meter is placed from side to side to give you the ability to compare the levels of the tracks with each other. You can also disable folder padding in Theme Adjuster to make comparison more precise. Also, given that this layout is pretty tiny, it is very useful if you have a huge session with a lot of tracks. Transport. In general, the transport panel has 3 orientations: left, middle, and right. Here you also can find additional parameters: unmute and unsolo all tracks, and quick access to the theme adjuster. The theme has 8 variations: black, bright, dark, and gray. Other 4 are the same, but with the solid backgrounds for media items with colored waveforms. You have quick access to the FM4 theme adjuster directly from the transport panel near the time signature. The theme adjuster has separated tabs for TCP, MCP, and transport panels. From here, you can set brightness and saturation for backgrounds, meter and embedded UI positions for TCP, switch between pan knobs and sliders, enable record buttons for folders, disable or enabling folder padding for MCP, or even switch layouts. The theme overall is created with 150 and 200 layouts. It means that it supports different scales and resolutions from full HD and up to Retina or other high DPI displays. Almost every element will look sharp and clear starting from the budget build to high-end devices. Initially, it was probably the first non-default REAPER theme built from scratch with 150 and 200% scale support, from full HD to Retina or other high DPI displays. You can install the theme following the instructions attached to the theme archive, or add the repack repository to get newest updates pretty quick.